Hey, good afternoon. Welcome to Taking Care of Business with Dean Fell, and I am your host, Dean Fell, Lancaster County Chamber of Commerce President and CEO. Our guest today is Kirk Eich with the Upper Palmetto YMCA. Kirk is the CEO and Executive Director there. And the Upper Palmetto Y covers Lancaster, Chester, and York counties. Like all chamber events, they're made possible by our sponsors, and we'd like to take a minute to thank our sponsors: Comporium Communication, Founders Federal Credit Union, INSP Crossridge, MUSC Health, the Lancaster Medical Center, Nutramax Laboratories, Oceana Gold, the Hale operation, and PCI Group up in Indian Land off of Harrisburg Road. Also, a special thanks to our host sponsor today, and that's Haynes Full Circle Benefits. We're here in the Haynes studio, and we've got a quick message from Mr. Marty Haynes.
2020 has most definitely been a different kind of year. With challenge comes opportunities. Open enrollment for individual marketplace plans, Medicare Advantage, and prescription drug plans will be here before we know it. This year we're excited to offer a few additional options for you to enroll for the upcoming open enrollment period. Phone enrollment, virtual enrollment, and also in-office meetings. We are looking forward to an exciting open enrollment season. We encourage you to contact our office early to set up an appointment. As always, thank you for being a valued client of HFC Benefits.
Thank you, Marty. So Kirk came to us from Lakeland, Florida, started in May of this year. So he hasn't been on the job long, but he's already making some big moves, some big changes, and getting a lot of good things done for the entire Upper Palmetto Y service area. He was CEO of the YMCA in Lakeland for 7 years, and before that in Athens, Georgia. Hopefully he's not a bulldog in this country, but he has been at the Y since 1990 after graduating from college and worked his way up through the YMCA organization. Graduated from the University of Florida with a BS degree and obtained numerous YMCA certifications. And he is married to Valerie Jo, and they have a 15 and 11-year-old. And he likes to play golf and go to church and do all sorts of good things. He's a good guy. I've got to know him real well already, and I'm considering him a good friend. Kirk, welcome to the show today.
Thank you for having me.
You're welcome. Hey, let's jump right in. First question. Everybody's anxious. We've been watching it come out of the ground. We can kind of see it over the horizon there off of 521. When will we get to go into the Indian Land YMCA?
Sure. I was just there about an hour ago and getting all the furnishings put in the facility. And so we have obtained our certificate of occupancy about a week ago. So we are in the process of just getting everything ready for the grand opening, which will be Thursday, October 29th. At noon, and we're obviously going to do some special invites, but we would welcome the community to come out that day also. And, we'll have appropriate social distancing measures in place. And then even on tours of the facility, we'll take small groups, really one family at a time on tours. And so, we'll have enough staff out there and volunteers out there to really allow people to be able to go through the facility and see what we have. Real excited for the facility, real excited for the county and the people who, live in the county. I think this is, it's a little commonplace for our association, the Upper Palmetto YMCA, but for me, this is a blessing, and I don't get a chance to do something like this too often. And so to be able to have a YMCA come into the county, I think you've heard me say before, if I could put a YMCA in every community in the U.S., we would be so much better off just in every area of our lives. And so we're real excited for that Y. And, once again, Thursday, October 29th at noon, open to the community. And we'd love to have families out there just checking it out. And,
Cool.
Right after that grand opening, we will be open for business. So,
fantastic.
However long it lasts, 1 o'clock, 1:30, people can come into the Y and start utilizing the facility right that day.
Good deal. Well, I know having a YMCA in Lancaster County has been a long-term goal of mine since I arrived in the county 13 years ago. And I'm certainly excited that we've got one and about to have a second YMCA in Lancaster County servicing our community. So that's fantastic. Give us a little sneak peek though. I mean, you know, I've had the opportunity serving on the Upper Palmetto Y board with you, and then with Mobile before you, to see the plans, the renderings, the drawings. But talk a little bit about a few of the neat items and how this Y is going to compare to other Ys in the region, or even the Charlotte region, being so close to Charlotte that we are, and some of the residents up there.
Sure. So, you know, I often kind of, you know, being in the Y, we have our own Y language, but, you know, this is a flagship Y for us. And so, you know, with our association, we're blessed to have 3 or 4 Ys. They're flagship Ys. This will be one of those Ys. And, you know, the footprint and the building that we have today, we also have some room to expand that facility. You know, future water park, you know, when folks come out to the Y, they'll see a big space that's grassed right now, and that's really not athletic space. That's a future water park. So that's going to be one of the things that we start working on and fundraising for, and trying to determine partners, you know, for that facility. Because if we can get that built up, we have 5 acres of ball fields lighted, and we just rolled the turf on about a month ago. So the turf is starting to really take hold. We're probably going to mow it here in a week or so. So we have 5 acres of laser graded, you know, athletic fields. I mean, you know, football, soccer, lacrosse, you know, I mean, what a blessing to have that space out there. So youth sports for us, adult sports are going to be big. I could see us having, you know, 1,500 kids out there involved with youth sports. So the nice thing, it's going to be lighted too. So when daylight savings time, you know, here shortly is going to be over, gets dark really early. And so to be able to have some, you know, activities going on outside, you know, after dark is going to be a blessing. But inside we have an 8-lane aquatic complex that is really going to be geared towards water aerobic classes, fitness classes, lap swimming, you know, swim lessons, you know, for those, you know, handicapped folks who really need assistance to be able to get in the pool. We have a long ramp that will allow people in wheelchairs. We have a handicap lift. And so, you know, my mom, you know, just on a personal note, she has, you know, she's got Parkinson's. And so water therapy for her is a blessing. And so we know that facility is going to serve a lot of good, particularly on the health and wellness side. Right. And it is built to be able to accommodate people who need special assistance. And then for swim lessons, it has a shelf built into the pool so the kids can keep their shoulders, you know, under the water. And it just helps if you can be in the water versus sitting on side of the pool deck. So that's going to be a really neat thing. On the health and wellness side, we have 5 different spaces that are going to be really unique. We have a functional space. And Dean, you say, well, what is a functional space? And that's really your racks. It's your heavyweight. It's more of what you would have in a university, or, you know, the Panthers locker room probably has some functional space. So, you know,
that's certainly the area. I'll be in that area all the time.
I'll be walking through saying hi, but we're going to have some neat stuff in there. We're going to have a women's only workout area. And so, you know, for females who want to be able to come in and work out and just, I'm not going to say not be bothered, but just have a space that is theirs, that, you know, is their environment. So we're going to have a women's only workout area that will have some unique equipment in there, big cardio area. And, you know, Dean, I'll tell you, kind of the old standard in YMCA's was you buy, you know, one particular type of equipment like Precor or Star Trek or Cybex, and you go, you know, the whole outfit. They buy everything for the whole facility. So with us, I've taken a different route, a different track. We have 11 separate fitness providers in that facility. And so, you know, if you're a fan of this particular treadmill or this treadmill, we're going to have three different treadmills. Every piece of cardio will have an embedded screen. And this is something I'm real excited about. And so, you know, you want to be able to swipe your Apple Watch, log your data into your watch when you're on a treadmill or a bike. You'll be able to do that. You want to watch Amazon, you'll be able to do that. You want to stream your Netflix. You want to watch Game of Thrones while you're walking on a treadmill. I'm a fan of the old sitcoms like Gilligan's Islands or Hogan's Heroes. That's what I like. I like home improvement shows. So, for me, having that functionality of that interactive piece, it enables me to be able to walk on a treadmill and walk 3 or 4 miles and not feel like I've had to work too hard at it.
Sure.
And so that's a blessing. We have some other really neat stuff as far as machines. We have these particular piece of cardio called Octane Free Runner, and it's kind of a stepper and a treadmill combined. And it's not one of those infomercial things you see at midnight, like the Gazelle. It's a commercial grade piece of equipment that people are going to really love. And then we have some other functional pieces that, we have these touch screens. They're 4 foot by 6 foot touch screen that you're able to go in and say you want to do a workout with heavy ropes, or kettlebells or whatever you want to do. You can pick your level, 3 different levels, and then you can do a 4-minute interactive workout, you and the screen. And, we'll have 2 of those. We'll have one in the functional room and then one on the main floor. So kind of new state-of-the-art pieces that I think people are going to like. We'll have cardio pieces. We'll have about 50 different pieces of cardio, and then we'll have all the Cybex functional training, the free weight stuff. So real excited. So health and wellness is a big part of what the Y does. We're in the middle of a pandemic. My position, and it's been that position since day one, is you're better off coming into the YMCA and getting your cardiac health in order, getting your respiratory functions in order. And if and when you do, get exposed to COVID, you're better able to fight it. And so we know if you're pre-diabetic, we know about 1/3 of the country is pre-diabetic. Exercise can help with diabetes. We know this. Weight control. Obviously, your diet affects, your glucose levels. So, we're in the middle of pandemic. My position is coming to the Y. Get your body in shape, and you're going to be better off. We know our bodies are built by exposure. We know our immunity is built by exposure. And so real excited to be able to offer that to Lancaster County and the residents, of the county.
Sounds good. I know I see one question from Mr. Albert Blackman, who's tuned in with us, wondering about tennis courts. Are we going to have any tennis courts? Looks like he's a real tennis buff. He's wanting some clay courts up there.
We do not have any tennis courts spec'd, but I can tell you we do have some property available that, if the community was supportive of something like that and inclined to be able to build that out. So we do have some space that we can build out and build on. And that's the nice thing is we built it, and we know today that as the community grows, as the county grows, we're going to need some more components to our facility, and we built that into it.
Right. Well, Kirk, you really just touched on the whole Y concept for all of our Ys, not only Upper Palmetto Ys, but across the country. They're built for the community itself. And what the community's asking for, what the community wants, what the community needs, the Y is going to work to meet and fill those needs. And I think that's the exciting thing. Let's talk about collaboration just a little bit. You got the fields. I know that many folks that live in Indian land, first thing they would say is there's a lack of fields available up in the Panhandle area for all sports. Do you foresee a collaboration with Lancaster County Parks and Rec on some of that field utilization?
I do. And so, day one, we're probably going to ease into usage just to try to get our feet underneath us and get the Y operating and functional. But we know that, you mentioned, the Y is owned by the community. It's indirectly, obviously, operated by staff and overseen by a volunteer board of directors, but it's owned by the community. It's a community asset. So we want to be open and available to any other nonprofits in the community, any other county recs, the high school. We're working with Indian Land High School right now with their swim team. They're actually swimming at Fort Mill at the complex. And so, that's going to be a piece that we'll we'll be partnering with. And so,
Right.
with the high school, with the middle school, with Parks and Recs, we want to be a partner and a collaborator on serving the needs of the community.
Sure. And on that front, I know you and I have talked about it quite a bit. Obviously, as chamber president, we work closely with a lot of the businesses here in the city and in the Panhandle throughout the county. Talk about partnerships with businesses. What do you have any partnerships already arranged with any folks? I know of a couple you've mentioned during board meetings. I don't know if you can talk about those yet, but then other partnerships that you may be going after would like to see happen.
Sure. So I kind of break it into two parts, formalized partnerships that we're going to have a relationship with as far as programming. But on the corporate side, for companies that have employees that, need that health and wellness benefit, particularly on the premium side. So if you can provide a health and wellness benefit to your employees, you can get a rate reduction on your premium. So we're going to look to have some corporate wellness pieces. We'd obviously love to have some company sponsorships, and I've had a couple phone calls related to that, to where you can be official sponsor of the Y, and then a more formalized partnership. Parks and Rec, county recreation. You talked about that. One thing that we're working on right now is a partnership with MUSC, working on the health and wellness benefit, the cardiac rehab, the orthopedic piece. So, there again, it's just another piece of how can we serve the community? How can we take care of individuals? And we know, I'm close to the boomer age. The baby boomers, we're getting older, and our runways are getting a little shorter. And how do we age? We're living a little longer, but what's our quality of life? How do we age? And so that rehab piece is going to be important to a lot of people. How can we maintain their quality of life and do it in a way that is open and accessible? And so do you want to go into a rehab clinic and, in a clinical setting, you want to come into the Y and do your rehab at the Y. So we're excited about our partnership with MUSC and their expertise. They have a lot of clinical expertise that we simply don't have on staff through the Y. And so they're going to add a whole nother layer of health and wellness. And I'm excited for that.
That'll be good. We're going to have Scott Brown, the CEO of MUSC, on the show in a couple of weeks on October 8th. So we'll explore that a little bit more with him, and certainly talk about plans for the Indian Land Hospital that we know will be coming out of the ground up there, just not too far from you, I suspect, because if it's going to be in Indian Land, you guys are in the center of the element up there. Let's switch gears and move south a little bit. Talk about the Gregory Family Y. I know you guys began managing the Gregory Y a few years ago. Certainly that's near and dear to my heart. Something that I was passionate about. Glad to see the Y coming in. You've made some changes. I know when you came in, first thing you did and shared with me is you went and visited all the branch Ys and ranked them and scored them, and you have some goals of taking them from wherever they are to another level. So talk about the another level, or the next level for the Gregory Y.
Yeah, and you kind of hit on it. The benefit that I have is fortunately I've been in the Y a long time, and I always say, running a Y, it's not brain surgery. It's just, but you got to know the Y. You got to know how to run it. And I'm a big believer, not just in my professional circle, but in my personal life, is customer service, cleanliness. I'm a type A kind of person. Good programming, good staff. And if we take care of those things with our operations, we're going to be successful. And so, just kind of coming in and assessing where the Gregory YMCA was at, facility wise, it's a great partnership, with the school. Where are we at? And let's do a true, honest assessment. And so we've done that, and we're looking to improve on what we're doing from a staffing standpoint, a program standpoint, cleanliness. One of the big pieces I'm excited to offer here shortly is we're going to have child watch for that facility. So when members come into the facility and you have kids, how are you able to work out? How are you able to go into the gym and do what you want to do in there. So we're excited about that, to be able to do that. And we're going to start Child Watch on October 1st. And so look for our Facebook or our website for those hours. And then programming, after school childcare is obviously a big piece that our whole country is really looking at, and how are we doing that locally? I know a lot of churches have stepped up, schools have stepped up. So how can the Y play a piece in that, down in Lancaster, as far as supporting those families? So we will probably be doing some after school childcare, within the year, and we hope to do it at a high quality level. And then just, our programming, what are we doing? How are we doing? We know we have a big pickleball contingent at that Y. Let's take care of them. What do they need from us from a staff standpoint? How can we help them enjoy coming into the Y at a higher level? So excited for that facility. We know that, it's a big piece of that community. And so, we want to do a better job, and we're well on our way. We've hired some new staff, and real excited for that operation.
Well, I know one of the staff positions is program development, and I think Walter is going to be your guy on that program development. Talk some of the folks in the Lancaster community probably aren't aware of all the different programs like summer camp, youth summer camps. We've got a resident camp that's part of the Y, which is really unique. I mean, not many Ys across the country have their own resident camp that they can use. Talk about those activities.
Yeah, so I'm a big fan of resident camping, and you say, well, what does resident camping mean? It's spend the night, overnight camping. And so we have a camp, up in Kings Mountain. It's Camp Cherokee. Been around since 1945. We've had 3 or 4 generations of folks come through that camp, and it's a special place. Our camp sits in the middle of 10,000 acres of state park land. So, when you think of camping, if you were able to go to camp as a kid and really think back on what did you enjoy about camping, it's that nature piece, it's that bonding piece, and really, it's hard to imprint on adults, right, Dean? For you and me, I don't know if you're going to imprint on us too much at our age, but with kids, you can imprint on them, and you can create memories that they'll have for the rest of their life. And camping is it's probably the one of the greatest avenues to do that. Is you can take kids, put them together from different walks of life and different families and different demographics, and you put them together, and by the end of the week they love each other and they're friends for life. And to be able to do that in an active outdoor environment, and we have a lot of blessings around us right now with nature in our counties, but some people come from a very urbanized area and they don't get that. And so real excited for camp. We actually open camp registration in about 2 weeks. And fortunately or unfortunately, however you look at it, our camp fills up in about an hour. And so 1,500 spots. If you register one day later, you can't get in. And that's something we're trying to look at. We're looking to provide some yurts. We're looking to buy about 4 yurts that we're going to put out at camp. And we're going through the state park right now to try to get them approved by the state park system down in Columbia. And so we're going to be able to service about 24 more kids per session and house them in yurts. And that's going to be something really unique to our camp. To some other camps, not so unique, but real excited about that. How can we add more capacity? We are doing we're building a new lodge out there, hopefully starting that project in about 3 or 4 months. And so that lodge is going to be able to enable us to have some air conditioned space, some program space that the kids can go into. Camp dances. I have fond memories of camp dances. And so just improving on the asset that we have up in Kings Mountain. It's a beautiful area up there.
Absolutely. With camp and the lodge being added and some other amenities, do you see that space being utilized in any corporate leadership training activities?
Yeah, so group retreats, group rentals. Unfortunately, during COVID, we've had to put a halt on everything we do up at camp, with the exception of running resident camp this past summer. But hopefully coming into to late spring, we're able to do some retreat business, and we have low group initiatives. We have high rope initiatives, and so really being able to take your staff and bringing them up there in a natural environment and do some team building, doing some bonding and trust fall. It's amazing. You get up on a log and you got your coworker standing behind you and you got to fall backwards. You're gonna have a unique perspective on your coworkers after you do that. And some people, believe it or not, they'll get up there and they'll start crying because they're just scared and they don't trust the people down on the ground. And so, team building is something that we're really good at, and it's a lot of fun. And we have really great staff. Our camp director and our assistant director, really great staff up there, and all of our counselors. I could go, I sound like I'm at the Academy Awards thanking the people, but we have really good staff, really good board of advisors and alumni that just simply love camp. Like they love the Y, but they love Camp Cherokee.
Absolutely. You've got that right. And I think anybody that grew up in the YMCA will say that they just love the Y. That's why we call it the Y. It's kind of home for many of us. It's where we go back when we need to recharge or whatever. Well, Kirk, hey, I appreciate you coming on the show today. And I'm excited about the Indian Land Y opening and just excited to continue to see the success and improvement over at the Gregory facility. And welcome to the area. We're glad to have you. I think that you're like South Carolina a whole lot better than Florida or Georgia. We're just much nicer and better football and, just a number of things like that. So.
Football is definitely, you want to get a good discussion going, talk about USC or Clemson, and you got opinions all over the board.
There would be one or two. You're exactly right. Well, thank everybody for tuning in, and I tell your friends that you can come back and watch it. It'll be replayed. In 2 weeks, we'll be right back here with Scott Broom, with the CEO of MUSC Health, on October 8th at 2:00. Thank you for tuning in, and we'll see you next time.